Welcome everybody to today's episode of Freedom from the Desk. I'm thrilled that you're here, whether you're watching me on YouTube or whether you're listening to me via Spotify or Apple. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Look, I'm Nicola Brunton, for those of you who haven't met me, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that I really am passionate about. I've been doing sort of a little micro series around these different things, and they're sort of all compounding, leading to sort of the overall picture of the ethos that I like to talk about. And me here, I wanted to drop in and remind you about our free resource that I got for you guys. Now, this is the Power of Three. So this is a great starting point PDF download. Nothing gets emailed to you. It's access to an instant PDF, and it's got some amazing tools, 3 really powerful tools for you to start using in your life, start using in your business, however you want to utilize them. So head on to the link in the description, but basically it's freedomfromthedesk.com.au/the Power of Three download. But today's topic is particularly around, again, the language that we use. Now, I've spoken about this a lot in previous podcasts and possibly ones that I've already uploaded. But today we're going to talk about why confidence is not a skill, why confidence is a skill, not a personality trait. And this came about because I was actually listening to another podcast which sort of triggered the conversation that I wanted to have with you guys today. Because when you listen to a podcast, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else or whether you view someone on YouTube, everybody takes away something different. And this is what I'm trying to get across when I'm sharing my information. And I think the podcast that I listened to was via the Mindset Mentor, Rob Dial, an amazing, amazing guy. And he shared a podcast about being full of yourself and about how basically we are our biggest advocate and we fly our own flags, because if you can't, be shouting about how wonderful you are from the rooftops, no one else is going to do it. It's as simple as that. And I thought I'd like to really sort of reframe this into my voice and how it sort of applies to me, and in turn how that might sort of apply to you. And it kind of brought me back to the phrase that I use a lot. I use awesome a lot. And I don't know where it's come from. I just love it. Like, I'll sign off and I'll go, awesome, thank you very much. Or that was awesome. I loved seeing that. I use awesome a lot. And that's sort of how we get to today's episode. And I think the best way to sort of lean into this is kind of think about a time when someone's ever sort of looked at you and thought, wow, they're so confident. I could never do that. But confidence is about something that you actually build. You don't have. Some people, yes, naturally have confidence. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. But it also is something that can be built. So never, ever doubt yourself and your abilities to actually move towards something. So a simple truth is that we don't start confident. We actually grow into it. It's actually a practice. It's not a birthright. And I think this is the misconception that is out there within the entrepreneurial community, is that I think people think that these people that are successful are just, it's sort of, silver spoon mentality, that they're sort of born with it. And that's just so untrue. It's not funny. So for those of you who don't know, I love finding out about the history and the etymology of words and how the structure of what they came into. So I think for me, we've got 2 words that we're going to look at today. We're going to look at average versus awesome, my word. And so average comes from the Latin word avarius. Now, forgive me if I've got that wrong, but basically it means common or undecided, or a neutral word. Not bad, just unshaped potential. And it sort of represents a starting point. So that's average. And when we look at awesome, so the root behind awesome is awe. So when you're in awe of something, it's profound wonder and admiration, right? And it's used to describe things of great power. So the meaning today something that inspired admiration. So you are moving from being average into awesome. So you're moving from uncertain into possibility, or common into courageous, or neutral into growth. And as an individual, you take which one fits you. And this is the message that I want to take away, want to give to you guys today. I think the big myth is, again, touching on what we talked about earlier, is that some people are just born confident. And it's just not true. It's simply not true. So your brain actually collects proof. And when you constantly feed your brain that truth, it kind of comes into being. And that's how confidence is actually growing. I did that hard thing. I didn't die. I can do more. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that's how it sort of moves. And confidence grows from, repetition, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I suppose for me, that's how we came into doing these podcasts, is because when you do something for like 5 or 6 times, it doesn't form into a habit. It doesn't form into something that you're good at. The more you do something, it doesn't normally lead to being bad at something. You become an expert at. Whether that thing is good or bad for you is a completely other discussion. So you might be addicted to eating chips or chocolates, or you've been drinking or something like that. You might have a bad habit, so you do it continuously. That's repetition, but it's moving towards something that may not be very good. So when you have repetition that is moving towards something that's changing you and building a better perspective for yourself, that's a good type of repetition, and that's the repetition that we want. And you're giving credit to yourself, and you're moving through discomfort. So a lovely phrase here, or a lovely thing to note, is shyness isn't the opposite of confidence. Avoidance is. Powerful stuff. So the practical skills that I want to sort of apply or share with you today, I love giving sort of practical tips that you can move forward with. I mean, otherwise we're just chatting here on a video, which I love to do, but I also like to give a little bit back. So one, you can do self-talk shifts, right? So you can move from I can't do that to I can learn that. And number 2 is action before certainty, right? You don't wait for confidence. Confidence is a reward for acting scared. So you may really struggle to do something, but once you move through that, it's rewarding you. So that action before certainty, and that's where a lot of anxiety comes from as well. And number 3 is borrowed belief, right? This is a super powerful one. When you see something inside you, when that stranger is noticing your strengths. Wonderful example today. And I was catching up with a friend, and we were at a cafe, very busy cafe, and we were at a table of 3, and there was 2 of us. So there was a spare chair, and the waitress came over, and she stood down and she goes, "Am I okay to take this chair?" And she said it with such confidence. And I kind of thought it was a strange thing to recognize, but she didn't dilly-dally. She didn't come over and sort of hover and make us feel uncomfortable. She had a borrowed belief. And she was, came over and so polite and so clear in what she wanted. I mean, it was a chair, and we would have obviously said yes, it's not an issue. But I think when you've got that belief in yourself, it comes through so glaringly obvious in other people that are looking in. Now, this is a really important part of this conversation. Confidence versus arrogance. We want to have confidence in ourselves, but we don't want to become across as being arrogant. We've all met those people. And that's when confidence gets blurred and moves into arrogance with, a demeanor of I'm better than anybody else and things like that. So A couple of ways to recognize this, or some comparisons, are with confidence, we can all win, versus arrogance, I must win for you to lose. Confidence is a growth mindset, arrogance is a fixed mindset. And I've spoken about this on previous podcasts before. And another one for confidence is very inclusive, and arrogance is insecure plus an element of competitiveness. So that's it for today's episode. I wanted to keep this short and on point for you guys. And I think it's really important to remember to be the person that's full of themselves. Be the one that's honouring the journey that's happening within inside you. You're not being bullshit. You're not being arrogant. You're being confident in yourself. And that's immensely, immensely powerful. So if you have to use the word awesome or whatever the case may be, then absolutely use it. And you're replacing those ordinary or average words. So you're moving from the average over into the awesome arena. And I think language is immensely, immensely important. And you'll see that come through a lot in my podcasts. So please let me know what you thought of this episode. I would love your feedback. It would be awesome if you could leave a like or obviously hit that subscribe button for me. I would really appreciate that. If you're listening over on Spotify, please click that follow button. I do release episodes every Thursday on Spotify, and then obviously upload those to YouTube as soon as I can as well. So until next time, have an awesome day.